Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Izzati binti Husni. I am the representative for my group, which is our topic is about Team 3, Cybercrime, Justice and Hacking. But our group will focus on Digital Vigilantism. Before I continue for our presentation today, let me introduce you to my all hardworking team members, which consists of 6 people, which is me, Nurul Izzati, Audrilia, Shavona, Nur Shafiqah, Nurul Hafiza, and also Aina Mardia. Without further ado, I will continue with my part, which is introduction. So, what is digital vigilantism? Digital vigilantism is when people publicly shame or punish others online for alleged wrongdoing. In Malaysia, digital vigilantism have emerged strongly with widespread of use in social media platforms like Facebook, TikTok and Twitter. So, the easy access to smartphones and internet connectivity allows people to record, upload and share incidents instantly. So, next part is the example of digital vigilantism in Malaysia. So, it consists of doxing scammers, exposing scams and also public shaming. So, why is it important to us to prevent the digital vigilantism in Malaysia? Because we can deter wrongdoers. And also, if digital vigilantism is widely spread, it can cause harassment, threats and punish to the innocent people. So the next is there are issues like privacy and ethical concern, and it is related to the Communication and Multimedia Act 1998, which is CMA. That's all for my part, which is introduction about digital vigilantism. So my team members will explain more about digital vigilantism and also focus on research findings, which is type of digital vigilantism, applying principle and justice, and also show you the interactive flowchart story, and lastly is group reflections on hypothetical scenarios. That's all. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Audrilia. Today I'll be talking about our research findings on the types of digital vigilantism. We will focus on 3 main types: doxing, scam exposure, and public shaming. I will explain what they are, why people do them, what risks they carry, and share real-life cases from Malaysia. First, let's talk about doxing. Doxing comes from the phrase dropping documents. It means searching for and publishing someone's private or identifying information online without their permission. This information can include their real name, home address, phone number, school details, ID number, private photos, or other sensitive data. The goal is usually to shame, threaten, or punish the person. Why do people doxing? There are a few motivations. First, punishment or revenge, exposing someone for something they allegedly did wrong. Second, intimidation and control, threatening the victim or trying to silence them. Next, public condemnation, turning online audiences against the target. The last one is social status. Some do it to gain attention or approval from their peers by humiliating someone. What are the risks and harms of doxing? Victims lose control over their private information. They face increased risk of online harassment, cyberstalking, and blackmail. Exposure online can lead to real-world violence or bullying. Lastly, it often encourages mob harassment where more people join to attack the victim. So, let's talk about the examples of cases happen in Malaysia. So, this is the example, Joanna Joseph case. Joanna Joseph was only 15 when her ex-boyfriend leaked a private photo of her online. The image spread quickly across social media and she was threatened if she spoke out. Years later, even as an adult, her personal details were still being exposed. She faced public harassment and slow police response. Today, she a strong voice calling for anti-doxing law in Malaysia.
Hi, my name is Shavona, and now I'll talk about scam exposure. Scam exposure happens when people posting or outing a suspected scammers online through social media platforms, forums, or websites by posting their names, bank account numbers, phone numbers, or screenshot of the messages that they sent online. The motivations behind scam exposure is firstly to protect the public so that this same scam doesn't happen to other people. Secondly is to seek justice, especially when the police or authorities don't act fast enough. And thirdly is to create a social consequences for the scammers. For example, scammers may feel exposed and unsafe when their face and personal details are widely circulated, making them less confident in continuing their scam. However, there are also risks and harms. For example, false accusation. If someone is wrongly accused, they could lose their reputation and also face threats from the public. Second is defamation. Legally, even exposing a real scammer without solid proof can result in lawsuit. Thirdly, privacy violations. Because sharing someone else's bank details or phone numbers without their consent may result in breaking the law. An example case of this scam exposure is when a company director loses 11 million to CCERX crypto scam on February 2024. And it is also the single largest documented crypto investment fraud case in Malaysia at that time. And this is how it happened. A Facebook ad promoted CCERX as a high-return blockchain investment. The victim was introduced to the scheme and given instructions to transfer the funds, and later lost to multiple mule accounts. Attempting withdrawal triggers new demands, such as commissions, taxes, processing fees, and this leads to escalating transfers and further exploitation.
Finally, let's talk about public shaming. Public shaming is when people publicly criticize, humiliate, or condemn someone online because they believe that person did something wrong. This often involves sharing videos, photos, or posts widely to provoke public outrage or punishment. Why do people engage in public shaming? To enforce social accountability for perceived wrongdoing, to expose or embarrass the offender and prevent similar action. Next, to gain support or moral validation from online audiences. And lastly, to pressure institutions or employers to take action against the persons.
The risks and harms for public shaming are emotional and psychological harm. The victims may suffer from anxiety, shame, or even suicidal thoughts. Secondly is cyberbullying and harassment. The post can attract thousands of hateful or mocking comments. Thirdly is violation of privacy, because sharing private messages or personal details can breach privacy laws. An example case for public shaming is the schoolgirl public shaming case in Kajang last year. A video circulated online where a schoolgirl was publicly humiliated and being scolded by her teacher in her school cafeteria. The video then quickly spread to Instagram, TikTok, and other social media platforms, drawing widespread blame to the teacher without any verification. But since a schoolgirl was involved, this video can cause psychological harm both to the girl and the teacher's professional reputation.
In this slide, I will explain how we apply the principle of justice to understand digital vigilantism. First is fairness. This means making judgment that are free from discrimination and based on proper evidence, not just emotion or viral posts. In digital vigilantism, fairness is often ignored because people judge quickly without knowing the full story. Second is equality. This is the idea that everyone should be treated in the same terms of rights and opportunity. But in reality, people from minority groups or those seen as different might be judged more harshly online, which show unequal treatment. Third is access. This principle is about everyone having the right to seek protection and justice through proper legal system. In digital vigilantism, rich people can often defend themselves or remove harmful posts, but poor people cannot, so they face the greater harm. Lastly, social justice. This means making sure that everyone deserves the same rights and opportunity, especially vulnerable groups. When we shame and exclude someone harshly online, especially if they are already disadvantaged, it goes against social justice because it increases inequality instead of helping them improve. So by using these four principles, fairness, equality, access, and social justice, we can see that digital vigilantism often undermines true justice, even if it starts with good intentions. That's all from me. I will pass it to the next presenter.
Next, I'll be presenting hypothetical scenarios and our group reflections on them. We created 4 realistic but fictional situations based on common cases in Malaysia to show how digital vigilantism can affect justice and fairness. Moving on to Scenario 1. Scenario 1 involved a teenage girl who was wrongly accused of stealing snacks. Someone recorded and posted the video online, but it turned out she had already paid. Sadly, she was publicly shamed before the full truth came out. Scenario 2 is about a Facebook user who exposed an online seller claiming they were a scammer. The post included the seller's phone number and bank account. Later, it was confirmed that the delay was due to the courier, not fraud. While Scenario 3 shows how cancel culture works, an influencer posted an insensitive joke and netizens tagged his company, demanding that he will be fired. Eventually, he lost his job because of the online pressure, not an internal investigation. And lastly, for the Scenario 4, it's about a student who commented rudely under a TikTok post. Someone found their personal information and exposed it online. This led to cyberbullying, and the student ended up deleting all their social media accounts.
Good day. My name is Nurshafika binti Muhammad Fazil. For our group project on digital vigilantism, I was in charge of creating this interactive flowchart based on the theme of accusation of scam. This edition 3 presents the different choices a person might make when they come across an alleged scam online, and more importantly, the consequences of each action. The situation begins with a common modern dilemma. You suspect someone of scamming others online. The big question is, what action will you take? From there, the tree breaks into 4 paths, each with different ethical, legal, and social outcomes. Option A. Report to the police. If you choose to report to the police, it may take longer, but the outcome supports due process. It is slow but legal, and it allows the proper authorities to investigate fairly, protecting both victims and suspects. This reflects the principle of access to justice. Option B. Expose online. If you don't report to the police and instead expose the scammer online, this can warn the public. However, this choice comes with serious risk. It may defame an innocent person, and it can encourage mob justice without any verified proof. This violates the principle of fairness and equality, and it may be even illegal under the Communication and Multimedia Act CMA 1998 or PDPA. Next, option C. Confirm privately. Another path is to confirm the alleged scammer privately. This may resolve the situation without public drama, but there is still a risk of escalation or denial, especially if the person reacts negatively or refuses to cooperate. This action avoids public exposure but still requires careful handling. The last one, option D, do nothing. Finally, if you choose to do nothing, you avoid false accusation and personal involvement. However, the scam may continue, and others could be victims. This outcome raises the ethical question, should we stay silent or act responsibly? This decision tree shows how action has consequences, ethically, legally, and socially. Digital vigilantism might seem like instant justice, but it can easily spiral into harm. So, before we click share, ask, is this fair? Is this verified? Or are we just reacting emotionally? Justice should be done, but it must be done right. Thank you.
To sum up, our group members already explained about the digital vigilantism, which is the definition, why it's important, applying of justice, type of digital vigilantism, all the hypothetical scenarios, the flowchart story, and also I would like to say that digital vigilantism is very common in Malaysia due to social media rise and frustration with legal system. So, it is important to us to identify is that we involved with digital vigilantism or not, because it have its own risks, such as violate fairness, it can cause mental distress, and also can harm innocent people. So this is my advice, is to balance public safety with ethical responsibility. And if you have faced with digital vigilantism, don't be afraid to report to authorities and practice responsible online behavior. That's all for our group. Bye!